Hello everyone, welcome to the class of Transportation Engineering 2. We were studying railway engineering. In the last lecture we have covered the rail section, the components of the P-way. And in this rail sections we have studied all about rail sections like properties, like how you have to select the selection of the rail section can be done. Okay, so in the continuation now we shall move to the topic, the next topic, that is the defects in rail. Okay. So, like every other structural component in civil engineering, for example, a beam and column, okay, even the rail sections in railway engineering has certain kind of defects and wear. Okay, so there are certain defects which arises due to man-made causes, which arises due to the load application, the repeated load application, the fatigue. Okay, then there are certain rail defects which arises due to temperature variations and internal material components and the properties of material itself. Okay, so one by one we'll be discussing in details what are the different defects in rail. Okay, so let's start with the very first defect. If we list about the defects in rail, then we'll be having broad categorization like rail wear, then we have corrugation of rail, then hogging of rails, kinks in rails, buckling of rail is there due to excessive lateral loading. Then wheel burns are there, and which are basically at the surface, and shelling and black spots. So one by one, we'll be discussing the different defects in rail. Okay. So first of all, let's start with the very first defect, that is rail wear. So basically, what is rail wear? If we define rail wear, it is nothing but the rail surface, either at the deterioration of rail surface, which is either at the top or side or end of the rail head. Okay, remember when we studied the components of rail section, we have studied that there are three components of rail section, that is the head, the mid part, and the foot of the rail. Okay, so the head, web, and foot. So either of these three can be having rail wear, but this rail wear is basically what? The deterioration of the rail surface. So it may be at the top of the surface, that is head of the rail, maybe at the web of the surface, it may be at the uh, foot of the surface. Okay, rail surface. So now this rail wears occurs due to various reasons. Uh, the most important reasons are as follows. That is, the very first one is passage of heavy loads. Okay. So whenever any application of heavy loads like this freight corridors are having, okay. So whenever the heavy loads are applied over the rail section, then the rail wears are caused. Then high speed of train. So the movement of space, the trains is also one of the most important factor which are governing the railways. Okay, so this whenever there is a movement of high speed trains, you may find certain rail defects, that is rail wear. Okay, then we have concentrated stresses which may exceed the elastic limit. Then the gap at the joints, the gap which is meant for expansion and contraction of the joint, it may also lead to certain rail wears or certain rail defects. There are another defects which are occurring at the joints of the rail section, that is the hogging of rails or battering action of rails, as we have discussed in the last lecture also. Okay, but apart from that, rail wears are also very common at the gap of the joint. Okay, then we have slipping, skidding, or striking of wheel flanges on the rail heads, which ultimately causes the rail surface of the head of the rails to deteriorate. Okay, then presence of abrasive agents and supporting weather conditions are there. Then poor maintenance of track can also cause the rail wear. The next is measurement of wear. Now there are only two major methods of measurements of wear. Either it can be measured by weighing the rail, or it can be measured by profiling the rail section. Okay. So in the first one, we actually account for the weight of the rail. Okay. So if there is a difference in weight of the rail, that means there is some sort of defects arising in the rail section. Okay. Now this had an advantage that any kind of internal defects or so various other defects which are not classified in the rail wear, are also accounted in the weight of the rail itself. Okay, so therefore, instead of weighing the rails, we always prefer the profiling of the rail section. This profiling of the rail section is done using lead strips. Then it may be done using needles. It can also be performed by using equipment which are capable of measuring the profile and recording it on a graph paper. Thereby, even a slightest rail wear or the minute rail wear on the surfaces of the rail section will be easily visible and easily recorded with the help of these instruments. And therefore, the measurement of wear can be done on the rail section. Now these rail wears are they can be specific to location. Like on the sharp curves, you can see rail wears which are due to which are caused due to centrifugal force. Then on the steep gradient, you can find these rail wears which is mainly caused due to extra effort which is applied by the wheels of the locomotive. Then on the approaches to stations, why? Because at that time either braking is there or acceleration is there. When you approach a station, the most common operation of a locomotive or the wagons is together the rolling stock is braking action. And whenever you leave the station, that is the end of the station, it will be what? It will be the acceleration. So due to this braking and acceleration also on the approaches to the station, the rail wears can be arising frequently. Then rail wear is also common in tunnels and coastal areas. Why? Due to humidity and weathering effect. In tunnels, since there is no sunlight, there is no proper amount of heat in order to absorb the moisture, and mostly the tunnels are, you can see they might be moist in this thing atmosphere. They might be having moist atmosphere. So therefore, due to the humidity and weathering effect, corrosion or this thing, the rail wear can arise easily on the rail section. Then one more important cause of rail wear is on the this thing due to heavy loads on the weak foundation. So whenever there is a weak foundation, the rail wears are corroded, or you can say the rail wears occurs due to the application of heavy loads. Now, based on the position, these rail wears can be classified into three categories, 3 to 4 categories. Okay. So the very first classification based on position is the rail wear at top of the rail head. Okay. Since the rail section is having three major components, that is head of the rail, web of the rail, and foot of the rail. At three, the classification is done on the basis of position. Okay. So at the top of the rail head, the rail wears are may cause due to n number of reasons, like flowing of metal due to either heavy loads or engine burn. Then recurring impact of heavy axle loads can be there. Then sometimes abrasive or corrosive conditions can arise in the coastal areas or tunnels, like we have discussed earlier. Okay. Then skidding of and slipping of wheels on the rail heads is there. Okay. This skidding and slipping of wheels mostly occurs during the monsoon season, which reminds me of one more thing that many of you might have observed, that the driver of the locomotive, the loco pilot, he carries a bag full of sand. Okay. So that sand is why does he carry that sand? Because during the monsoon season, what happens? The rail head is having sufficient amount of moisture. So whenever the traction movement is there, that is the locomotive want to start. Okay, whenever the movement is about to start, there is one phenomena which happens, that is slipping of the wheel. So the wheel, instead of moving on the rail surface, what happens is, due to the water droplets or moisture between rail surface and the wheel, it will be slipping on the same position. Okay. So in order to apply more friction, what happens is the loco driver gets out of the locomotive and he places some sand on the frontal, or you can say the driving wheel. Okay. Then after that, what happens? It increases that sand on the surface of the rails, increases friction, which ultimately helps in the initial movement, traction movement of the train. Okay. And therefore, since the first movement is after the first movement has taken place, then everything will be in order. Then this rail wear can occur due to improper super elevation or centrifugal force also. Okay. Then fluctuations in the track could be there. And one more thing, that is adzing of sleeper. We have studied earlier that adzing of sleeper is uh, done in order to avoid the, in order to provide the lateral stability to the locomotive. This adzing of sleeper is done as 1 in 20 by providing 1 in 20 slope. Okay. So here is the diagram representing the defects, or you can say the rail wear at the top of the rail head. In the first diagram, you can see the left portion. Okay, there is a shaded portion on the left of the head of the rail. Okay, so over here it denotes the rail wear at the top of the head. Okay, then due to flow of the metal, the second diagram you can see the flow of the metal has taken place on the head of the rail. Then engine burns. This engine burn is caused due to the same phenomena which we have discussed right now. That is the slipping of wheel on the same surface at a frequent, or you can say at the same point whenever the wheel of the locomotive is slipping in one position itself. It causes wheel burns, or you can say engine burns. Okay, so this is also one effect or of rail wear which is caused on the surface itself. Then in the last diagram, you can see the side sections and the frontal section of again the wheel burn. Okay, so the second type of rail wears based on position is at the side of the rail head. So after the head of the rail section, we'll consider the web or the side of the rail head. Okay, so based on this particular defect, we can analyze that this particular defect is caused due to mainly due to rigidity of wheel base. Okay, then there are certain other reasons like continuous striking of the rail section by wheel flange, slipping and skidding of wheels on curves again, and greater thrust on the inner rail. Why? Because the speed is lesser than the equilibrium speed. Okay, so this last point, it always occurs whenever the speed is lesser than the equilibrium speed. That is, a greater thrust will be applicable on the inner side of the rail. Okay, so basically the side of the rail section is mostly affected by the wheel flange itself, and this particular wheel flange will be striking the side of the rail section mostly at the either the curve section or whenever the super elevation is provided anywhere on the rail track. Apart from this, it will be arising uh, this thing. It will be arising in the points and crossing. Okay. Okay. After that, we have these three diagrams where in the first one you can see the defect in the side, that is flaking. Okay, flaking is basically the deterioration of the surface of the rail head. Okay, in which the peeling up of the surface will be taking place. In shelling, how shelling is different from flaking? In shelling, you will be finding the same positional defect, but the rail wear. But there will be one difference, that instead of peeling up of the entire surface, there will be depressions formed at the side of the rail head. Okay. Then continuing with the rail wear based on position, the third kind of rail wear which we find is at the end of the rail head. Okay, the start or end of the rail head. Now this type of particular rail wear can be seen only at the joints mainly. Okay, whenever there is a you know expansion or contraction joint in the rail section, you will be finding what, the start and end of the rail. So this end of the rails are basically affected by what, mostly affected by the thing, wheels of the rolling stock itself during battering action. Okay, so these defects, whenever we talk about these defects, there are certain causes like loose fish plates, then fish bolts could be loosened up with the time. Then heavy loads at high speed, whenever the movement of heavy loads is taking place at high speed, then what will happen? The wheel will strike at the end of the rails with a greater impact. Okay. Then widening of the joint, if it has taken place, then also the ends will be affected. Then whenever there is a difference in rail height at a joint, okay, even if it is slightest different, then the battering action will be increased. Then bad condition of vehicle springs is also responsible for causing rail wears at the end of railhead. Then poor maintenance of track is one of the reasons which can lead to the rail wear at the end of railhead. Now there is a diagram at the end of the slide which shows the joints in the rail section. Okay, so this arrow denotes the direction of the movement. So if this is the direction of the movement, both the this thing ends of the rail section which are joined at the junction will be affected by the wheel load. That is, the preceding one will be affected by battering action, and the succeeding one will be affected by which, by what type of defect? That is dehogging effect. Okay, so both of them are due to both of them are causing ultimately what? The rail wear at the end of the railhead. Okay, now this rail wear is also having certain permissible limits. That is, if this rail wear, the rail wear is limited to 5% of the rail weight. Okay, again this wear is limited to 25% of the section of the head in failing which we have to replace the particular section of the rail. Now the rail is discarded under the following situation, that is, if the wear exceeds 5% or maximum 8% of total weight of rail, or the gauge side is worn by more than 3 mm, or else uh, gauge side of the head is worn to the shape of wheel flange, or apart from that, there are two more reasons. That is, if the top of the head is worn by 9.5 mm, or the head or web is split. Okay, so basically these are the conditions under which the rail is discarded. Otherwise, what we do is we try to mend the rail on the site itself, and on-site machines are used in order to mend these rails and fix under the maintenance part. Okay, now apart from treating or mending those rails, prevention of these rail wears can be done very easily. Now, this prevention requires certain measures which have to be carried out from time to time. These measures require this thing, better maintenance of tracks. Then, by reducing the number of joints in the rail section, you can prevent rail wears. Then, you can make the use of heavier and higher UTS rail section. Okay, like the 90 and 110. That those new rail sections can be used. Then, use of bearing plates below the rail foot can be done. Rail wears can also be prevented by lubricating the gauge face, okay, so that it may not cause the wearing of the rail gauge more than 3 mm. Okay, then rail checks check rails can be used on sharp curves so as to avoid the rail wear. Then renewal of the track should be done periodically so that before the rail wear reaches the permissible limit, it could be used either at some other location or it could be avoided. Okay. Then apart from those measures, there are certain other measures like interchanging inner and outer rails can prevent rail wear. Then using special alloy steels. Then regular maintenance of rail joints. Then welding or dehogging of batters ends can be used to prevent the rail wear. Then maintenance of correct gauges could be done, and application of heavy mineral oil in case of corrosion of rail metal under adverse atmospheric condition can be used. Okay, so all these measures are basically used to prevent the rail wears at different positions of the rail section. Now, in line with the defects of the rail, the next type of defect is corrugation of the rail. Okay, now this corrugation of the rails is different from the wearing of the rail. How? This wearing of the rails included a certain portion of surface deterioration. Basically, अगर short में compile करें तो that wearing of the rail wears or wearing of the rails can be clubbed as, it can be termed as what? Surface deterioration of the rail section. But when we talk about corrugation of rails, it is actually minute depression on the surface of rails, which may be varying in shape and size and and it may be occurring at regular or irregular intervals. Okay, so there cannot be a regular or irregular pattern or fixed pattern of corrugation, that can be seen on the rail. Now, when we talk about peculiarities of this corrugation of the rail, it can develop in any part of the rail, whether it is head of the rail or web of the rail or foot of the rail. Also, it can occur at any grade or any track, whether it is straight or curved, irrespective of the fact. Then rails carrying empty wagons, they get very easily corrugated. Then this corrugation, one more thing about this corrugation of rails is that it spreads very fast. So new rails placed also get corrugated, whereas corrugated rails placed elsewhere get smoothened sometimes. Okay. So this corrugation can be arising either due to rolling stock also, sometimes it arises due to weathering action also, but ultimately it is a major defect of rail section. So let's study what are the factors which influence the corrugation of rail. So broadly classifying the factors, it can be classified into metallurgical and physical and environmental conditions. So when we talk about metallurgical condition, high nitrogen content causes corrugation of the rails. Then effect of oxidation at the time of rolling and straightening of the rails is also one of the cause of corrugation of the rails. Then when we talk about physical and environmental conditions, steep gradient, yielding formations, long tunnels, electrified sections, all these are responsible for corrugations of the rails in one or the other method. Okay. Now, how these physical and environmental conditions are causing corrugation? Because along with the load or the repeated or the fatigue generated due to the repeated load application from the rolling stock, the environmental conditions or the weathering conditions acts on the surface of the rail section, which ultimately causes what? The corrugation of rail. Okay. So here are the factors which affect the corrugation of rails, that are, first one is train operation. That is, when train operates at high speed and axle loads are there. Then location where the train starts or brakes or applies brake. Those are the locations where this corrugation of rails is prominent. Then talking about atmospheric effects, whenever there is a high moisture content or there is presence of sands or broken bricks, okay, or in some cases even the ballast is lying on the track. All these things causes what? The corrugation of rails at the rail section. Now this removal of this corrugation of rails can be done by rail grinding, train moving at a 30 kilometer per hour speed. Okay. Or sometimes it is also rectified by using hand or motor driven trolleys which are moving at a slow speed. So you might have seen certain people carrying the driving the trolleys, hand driven trolleys, or nowadays, earlier hand driven trolleys are overused, but nowadays you can find out motor driven trolleys which are quite prominent. Okay, so they are basically just like in highways you have studied the bump integrator. Okay, this is the best analogy to compare both. Just like in transportation engineering 1 in highways, you have studied what? The roughness. In order to measure the roughness index of the road, what we do is we make use of a bump integrator and we attach it to a motor driven vehicle, and we drive the vehicle at a constant speed which is quite considerable for recording the readings or recording the deviation. In a similar manner over here also, instead of using a this thing vehicle on highway, over here we are using the vehicle on the rail track or the seaway, and the same thing is happening. We are recording the deviations in the track, that is surface deviation in the track, very minutely. Okay. Now there is one more prominent defect of rail, that is rail end batter. Yes, we have mentioned this defect earlier also, but we will study in detail now. This particular rail end batter is caused due to hammering action of moving loads at the rail joint. Okay. Now, whenever a train moves on a rail section, it will encounter what? The various number of joints in the rail section, which will ultimately do what? It blows uh, the blows of that particular rolling stock which moves, they causes rail end to batter. Okay. And contact surface of sleeper to wear out, or shaking of the ballast, or losing of fishbowl. All these are things which are caused by the movement of the rolling stock itself. Now, this rail end batter is measured as the difference between the height of the rail and the end, and at a point 30 centimeter away from the rail end. Okay, this batter is between 2 to 3 mm is classified as a severe rail end batter. Now, what are the remedial measures? Talking about remedial measures for rail end batter, we can perform cropping. Okay, then we can perform replacing of the say weared out or battered rails. Okay, cropping is basically what is cropping operation? The battered end is cut off and the rail is pulled back equal to the cut off length, and fresh holes are made in the rail section so as to provide the new fish plates, or to attach the new fish plate. Okay, then there is replacing, in which the entire rail is replaced. This method proves to be a bit uneconomical. Then welding can be done. The level is maintained by welding the worn out or deflected end. Okay, then dehogging is done sometimes if the rail end batter is not that much. So by using, with the help of Jim Crow or a dehogging machine, the dehogging of the battered rails is performed. Okay, then there is one more defect called buckling of rails. Okay, so just like the columns, buckling of rails is also the lateral deformation or the lateral sway of this the rail section. Okay, in buckling of rails, the track goes out of its original position or alignment. It may take place on tangents or curves due to excessive expansion of rails. Then tightening of fish bowls or welding on weak tracks, they may cause derailment. Okay, so ultimately, this buckling of rail can be only seen if there is a deficiency in the fastening devices itself. Okay, and it mostly arises in case of the derailment itself. Precautions can be taken in order to avoid this buckling of rails, like redesigning of sections, joints, and tracks. Then provision of anchors or steel sleepers can be made. Then lubrication of contact surface can be done so that buckling doesn't arise. Then proper expansion gap should be given at the joints of the rail section. Okay. Next defect is kinks in rail. This kinks is quite similar to the buckling of rails, but the only difference is that the ends of adjoining rails move slightly out of position. These causes jerks. Okay, so this kink is quite similar to buckling of the rails, but in buckling of the rails, we'll see the diagram. It will make you understand better. Okay, so that buckling is the entire deformation of the lateral sway of the entire track, whereas when we talk about kinks, it could be in certain single rail itself. Okay, so these kinks in rails are caused by the following reasons, that is defects in gauge and alignment and crossing level of the joint. Then sometimes loose packing at the joints also causes kinks in rails. Then uneven wear of rail heads may also result in kinks of the rail. These kinks in rails can be prevented by proper designing, packing, and maintaining the railway track or the P-way. Okay. So here is the diagram depicting all three major defects. Like first one is battered ends. Okay, so at the joint you can see the ends of the rails are battered from both the sides, the preceding and the succeeding one. Both the sides are having battered battering action or dehogged rails. Okay, the middle diagram or the middle picture shows buckling of rails. These see, this entire track has buckled. Okay, there's no particular rail that is buckled completely, but the entire track has buckled totally. That means the lateral sway has taken place. Okay, the third diagram shows kinks wherein one there is irregularity in the lateral sway, and the lateral sway is also not that much. So basically, kinks is what? Kink is quite similar to buckling, but it occurs at a very small scale. Okay, and it may also occur in a single rail itself, while the other rail may be intact. Okay, so here are the readings which you can prefer for these particular slides or topics. Thank you so much.